That's
Right.
my concern.
So when you call that, typically this is how it generally goes when the broker is called. You'll have a load that you saw on the load board that the broker had posted, and it meets the profile. It meets the profile criteria of your carrier. You were looking on the load board according to your carrier's profile, and you found a load with that equipment that matched the equipment type, that matched where it was going, to match the cents per mile, everything met up. So you say, okay, let me call broker ABC Brokerage. You call them and you say, hey, I'm looking at this load going from Virginia to North Carolina. Is it still available? Now I'm just giving you a high-level overview of how the conversation will go, okay? So, and you'll say, okay, I'm looking at this load going from Petersburg, Virginia to Charlotte, North Carolina. Is that load still available? You'll ask it in that kind of way as a dispatcher. And the broker will say, yeah, let me check and see if that load is still available. Because sometimes the reason why you ask it like that is because sometimes loads are gone even though they're still posted on the load boards. It's just that the broker hasn't taken them down yet from the load boards.
Correct.
So, right. So that's the reason why you phrase it that way. You say, is it still available? They say, well, let me check. And then they'll either say, yes, it's available, or no, it's gone. I'm sorry, let me take it down. If they say, yes, it's available, they're going to say, okay, well, what's your MC number? They're asking you, when they ask you that, they're asking the MC number of the carrier that you're calling for that load for at that moment in time is the MC number that you're going to give to that broker. And then they're going to look that carrier's MC number up in their system to see if they're already set up with their brokerage. If they are set up with the brokerage, then you don't have to go through the process of filling out the carrier packet and everything because you're already set up. Now, you may have to update some things. Say, for example, your carrier was already set up with ABC Brokerage, but their certificate of insurance is about to expire. So the broker will say, okay, yeah, you're already set up with us, but you might want to send us an updated certificate of insurance because it's about to expire the next business day. Something like that. So the other scenario in there is the broker says, okay, we got your MC number, but it seems like it doesn't look like your carrier is set up with us. Who do I need to send the carrier packet to, or the broker carrier agreement? They're the same thing. Carrier packets, setup packet, broker carrier agreement. It's all synonymous terms. So you, of course, as the dispatcher, as the middle person between your carrier and that broker you're speaking to on the phone, you'll let them know to send it to your email, to you. So the broker is going to send. They're going to send that carrier packet in a few different ways. One way could be a link. They'll email you a link to their internal portal, their website, where you can go online and fill it out online. Or they're going to send you like a PDF attached to an email. And then, so however way you receive it, of course, then you'll start to fill out the carrier packet and, going into that information, filling out the carrier's responsibilities. You want to look through the carrier packet for, the type of payment options that's offered by the broker. What are some of the language in there? Do they offer TONU? TONU is truck order not used. In case you book a load and then it falls through, they got to pay you a certain amount. That's truck order not used. What are the detention specific information about detention time? In other words, if your carrier is sitting at a loading dock past X amount of hours, how much extra are they going to pay that carrier per hour? So generally in most carrier packets, most brokerages, they'll say after 2 to 3 hours, then they'll pay between $50 and $150 an hour after the 3 hours that your carrier gives free. So in other words, it shouldn't take 3 hours to offload or load a truck at a loading dock for a carrier. If it exceeds that time, now you're sitting there, you're sitting in detention time, so your carrier should be compensated for that. And this is my take on it too, if your carrier does get detention, I would not include that in my dispatch charge. All that detention money, I give that to the carrier. I'm not the one sitting there waiting for it to be offloaded or loaded. The carrier is. So it's just my reasoning to give that all that detention paid to the carrier. So I'll just only charge for the service. I will only charge for the service that I provide, the dispatching service. So, but anyway, so you read through the carrier packet, detention, the payment options. If the only way that you would look at, the only reason you would look at the payment options, the 3 payment options that the broker offers, is if your carrier does not have a factoring company. So if your carrier has a factoring company, then you can pretty much skip over the 3 options and just, there should be another option there to indicate whether your carrier has a factoring company. So there should be like 4 check boxes there. The 4th one should be like, my carrier has a factoring company. I will opt out of the other 3 options that you are offering, Mr. Broker, ABC Broker. And those 3 options are quick pay, ACH transfer, and a paper check. So this is the verbiage, this is what's in the, the carrier packet. So once you fill out the carrier packet, whether it's an online link or if it's a paper PDF, then you would send that information in along with the other documents that the broker usually needs in order to set the carrier up with their brokerage. They're going to need a copy of their MC authority letter. They want to make and the reason being is because they want to make sure that the carrier has authorization to move general freight. You're going to need a copy of their certificate of insurance, and you're going to need a W-9s to show their federal EIN number. So, and if your carrier has a factory company, then of course you're going to need an NOA form, a notice of assignment. So that's why I kind of stress in my trainings that when you do get a carrier under agreement, try to get those other documents up front too and just put them in a file folder for that specific carrier. So when you're booking loads for them, you already have this data available and you can just send it along with the carrier packet. So it just saves a lot of time. So after that process, all the documents you, the dispatcher, has sent to the broker, ABC Brokerage, they're going to process that information through their system, their TMS system, run it by their compliance team to make sure everything is on the up and up as far as compliance, all the numbers are good for the carrier, make sure that they're good. And then they're going to come back and say, okay, carrier XYZ Trucking is set up now with ABC Brokerage. Who do I send the rate confirmation to? Well, it makes sense since you sent me already the carrier packet. It just stands to reason to send the rate confirmation to me, especially if you got the permission from your carrier to go ahead and sign, fill it out, and sign it in and send it in. Of course, you'll go before you sign it. Obviously, you'll go over the rate with your carrier to make sure that he or she is in agreement with that. Because if there are some discrepancies on the rate confirmation that was posted on the load that's on the load board, then of course you want to go back to broker ABC and get those discrepancies straightened out, right? So also too, going back to getting set up with a brokerage, on the certificate of insurance, sometimes brokers will ask to be made the certificate holder. So when the carrier gets set up with a broker, sometimes the broker wants to be listed on a certificate of insurance as a certificate holder. All that is you, the dispatcher, would just simply, or the carrier, but probably you because you have more time, the carrier's driving, of course, you will call the insurance agent listed on that policy on the certificate of insurance and just have them put the brokerage name, street address, city, state, and zip on the certificate of insurance at the bottom left-hand side where is a big block that says certificate holder. So you would do that and then have them email you and the actual brokerage, the broker that you're dealing with, their email, and CC you a copy of that. That way you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So, and then, okay, so now going back to the rate confirmation. So once the rate confirmation is agreed upon with you, carrier XYZ, and you, the dispatcher, Alley B Trucking, then that's signed and the load is officially booked, right? So now the broker may call back and do like get some data for a check call later on. What that means is the broker is going to ask you for whoever the driver is that's going to be under this load that we just booked. They're going to need their full name, their cell number, their truck and trailer number. In order to do what's called check calls. Every so often, they'll call the driver just to verify, okay, are you at the shipper to pick up this load? And then about halfway in the trip, they're going to do a check call to either you, the dispatcher, or the driver directly. Okay, where are you now? And then what's your ETA? And then once you get to the destination of the receiver, they'll want to do a check call and say, okay, what time did you get there? Everything's good. How did it go? You know, stuff like that. So, and that's pretty much the process. Now, in that process too, when the driver gets to the shipper or to the location, they're going to receive that bill of lading, that BOL, and it could be several types, but generally it's like a 3-tier carbon copy sheet, and the bill of lading is telling the driver and the shipper what's being loaded onto the truck, how many pallets, where it's picking up from, where it's going to, if there's other stops in it, all the details, the pickup number, the shipment number, things like that, so they can identify what to load on the truck according to the BOL. And then the shipper will sign, verify that everything was loaded, everything was in good condition at the time it was loaded, nothing was damaged, and the driver will sign next to the shipper's name confirming that, and then tear off a copy for the shipper. Then now they're loaded. They're going to drive to the receiver, the destination where it's being delivered to. Of course, get past security, get on the loading dock, and then begin to get offloaded, however long that takes. After that happens, the loading people will come out at the receiver, and then they will verify the pallet count, that nothing was damaged, everything was good, and then they'll sign a section on theirs, and the carrier will sign the section on the receiving side, verifying that everything was in the same condition when it left the shipper as it is now at the receiver. And then they'll tear a copy off for the receiving unit. And then the last copy they have is, so now the BOL turns into a POD. So it's now what's called a proof of delivery, because everything is confirmed. Everything was confirmed at pickup, at the shipper. Everything was confirmed as being exactly what it was at the receiver when he delivered it. So now everything is signed by all parties. So now the VOL, the bill of lading, is now a POD, a proof of delivery. So this is what is sent to the broker so the carrier can get paid, or sent you invoice the carrier your percentage or your flat rate or however your payment structure is for your service as a dispatcher. How was that?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, thank you.
You follow that?
Yes, definitely.
Now there will be other things that are happening along in that process, but from a high level standpoint, that's pretty much the process. But there'll be little things come along here and there that you will learn as you go. But if you cover the majority of the high level stuff, then and understand how that works, then you should be fine in dispatching.
Okay, thank you.
All right. What's up, Robert? What's up, Mike? So any other questions from you, Ali B Trucking? Are you good?
No, I'm good. Yes, thank you.
Okay. I was at a seminar yesterday with the box truck company, Yael Transport LLC. They specialize in helping people get non-CDL box truck transportation business. It was a very good seminar. He was very transparent. Um, all the data was good. We had brokers on there. We had credit people on there. We had commercial insurance people on there explaining the process, setting up the LLC, EIN. It was very structured. Yael Transport, Tammy and Sheldon are very transparent, showing the numbers of what he made on his box truck and everything like that. So just wanted to give you guys an update on that. And also, too, wanted to just a brief update on Mom. She's moved from ICU to the step down unit, and then from yesterday from the step down unit back to a regular hospital room. So she's preparing in the next couple of days to actually leave the hospital and go back to the nursing home. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Spread the work.
Yeah. As soon as I share that with you guys, my phone couldn't stop ringing, so which is wonderful. I appreciate that. That's good. Yeah, the doctor, Dr. O'Donnell called me, so he gave me an update. So they gave her the plasma for the corona, but they couldn't give her the other because her heart rate is still down. So there's an antiviral medication called remdesivir that is supposed to be administered to her in conjunction with the plasma for antibody purposes against the coronavirus, COVID-19. So, but right now they can't give her remdesivir because her heart rate is still lower than what the body can take. The heart can take when receiving remdesivir. So they're monitoring that, and but otherwise she says she's good, good spirits, everything's good, she's well, she's coming around from the pneumonia. She still has CHF and COPD, congestive heart failure, CHF, and COPD, which is the compulsive obstruction pulmonary disease. So kind of like heart and lung issues, but she's older, she's close to 80. So Robert said, how much total money with truck purchase, insurance, and everything, and how much is needed? Do you find any lows catered? Yeah. So they showed me access to the two load boards that are top load boards for LTL freight box trucks are My Virtual Fleet. They showed me that, and then it showed me Selectus. There was a ton of LTL loads all over the country for Selectus. You have to have at least five trucks to give me the workaround to get the Selectus for the box trucks. They shared with me the numbers for the truck purchase, insurance, and how much is. I would say about, if you get a nice used truck, I would say about 20 grand, and then the insurance, you're still going to need $1 million. I think $1 million liability and 100,000 cargo. There was an insurance person, a commercial insurance person that can set you up pretty well with the insurance policy. Her name was Christina. Christina has her own trucks. Sorry about that, guys. Let me share my screen again if it comes up. Yeah, I think I'm gonna see what Zoom. I'm gonna try some Zoom because we were on a Zoom conference call yesterday. So for those of you who can see the screen, I can bring up some numbers for. Bring it up now. Box trucks and stuff. Let's see. There was a PowerPoint presentation he gave, so I got a copy of that, and we'll see. If you're new in trucking, Robert, there are brokers that will be willing to give you also an opportunity, and he has connections with many brokers that are looking for LTL and box truck carriers, cargo van and sprinter vans, and with his connections there, the brokers will say, okay, well, we'll use Sheldon's experience and Sheldon's good service in order to give you a chance, so we can use his name and his company as a way to work into that. So but here is the PowerPoint presentation. Can you guys see the screen? I know Allie is driving, so. Yeah, about 20K investment. They can either show you how to go through a bank or a credit union, or if you got that type of capital, they can assist you with getting a decent truck. And the truck he recommends, yeah, it does sound the same as a semi. The truck he recommends is the Hino and the Freightliner. He doesn't recommend international. So I kind of wrote that down, what he was saying with the trucks. So the Hino, the box truck, and the international. Yeah, the Hino, non-CDL, and not the international, but I'm sorry, the Freightliner. So and he makes, with a box truck, he makes up to about $5,000 a week, and not dealing with a lot of the nonsense of the semis. So it's this LTL box truck, cargo van, sprinter van is just another option. I won't look at it as settling for less money than with a box truck when dealing with a tractor trailer. If you want to get a tractor trailer, of course, by all means, get your tractor trailer and go through that process, paying the insurance and all that other, starting the business and stuff. I'm just saying this is another option for people who are wanting to start off with something smaller before graduating to that, and maybe cannot afford the numbers with the tractor trailer. So it's just an alternative and an option. It's not a replacement, so to speak. So all right. And let's see here. So who else we have in now? Good morning. Oh, Jeff, and I guess Jeff is area code 770.
Yeah, that's me, I suppose.
Good morning. I'm Trudy. I'm 770.
Trudy.
That's Trudy.
Good morning, Trudy. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, I remember, Trudy, you had a question. So let me, if you can pick that question, just mention it to me while I'm finishing up this point here I'm making. Let's see. Mike said the price. Okay, he said you would make up to $28 a week. $28 a week and $1,100 for box truck, $1,600 a month for semi. As far as insurance, the insurance, I need to speak to Christina to get the specific numbers on the insurance for a box truck versus a cargo van, sprinter van, and see how that compares to the tractor trailer and things like that. So, and whether it's a CDL or non-CDL equipment type, to see if the numbers are different. Now, he showed us his statements from last year where he made 120-something thousand a year with the box truck, which is about $4 grand or so, or $4,500 a week. If I do the numbers on that, 45 a week times 4 weeks times 12 months, and this is gross. So, I'm sorry, 28. Let's do 28 times 4 week. Okay, there we go, times 12. So 134. So he said he made about 123. So with one box truck, working 4 days a week so he could have 3 days off for his family. The reason why he said he worked 4 days is because he wanted that time with his family. He's older, he's close to 60. So so I'm getting more information from them later on in the week so I can break it down and do comparisons. Well, not necessarily comparisons, but alternative options for those who may not be ready to handle the larger equipment types and may start off with a like a box truck or sprinter van or cargo van. So so this is not a replacement. It's just another alternative, another stream, another option of income. So it's not. I don't want you guys to look at it as another like as a replacement for the larger truck and trailers, like dry vans, flatbeds, and reefers. That's not the goal here with that. So it's just another option. What I saw on the load board for Selectus, and what I literally saw on the load board for Selectus and my virtual fleet, there were a ton of, and this was a Saturday. This was yesterday. This was a Saturday, and there were a lot of loads out there. Now, some of the loads are going like over the road. Some of the loads are local. So when you consider that too, it's interesting because the fuel costs. If you're local, then you're spending less on fuel. He's been with that company for years, though. Brand new business, not making $5 tax a week. 2 years. He's been there. He started 2 years. Been there for 2 years, and he has relationships with a lot of brokers. He has about 30 brokers, he says. So he's not really on the load board a lot unless he's looking for backhaul loads. But the brokers are keeping him busy. As a matter of fact, in the training yesterday, there were several brokers that actually called him about certain loads leaving out on Monday in the middle of the training. So his phone was ringing. But it was interesting. He had about, there were about 54, 57 attendees in the seminar yesterday. And they were, all the questions were answered. Just specific information. The brokerage lady came in with her LTL freight. She had a contract. Atlanta is the hub down there for a lot of freight. She had a contract with Office Depot and Home Depot for LTL freight, box trucks, cargo vans, and she came on and spoke about that she needs a ton of cargo vans and box trucks for her customers. And then Christine came on, who was the insurance person. And then there was another lady came on for dealing with credit repair. Leslie, her name was, I took notes, Leslie. So you had Leslie, Kelly, and Kelly was the brokerage lady. Christina was the commercial insurance lady. Coincidentally, Christina also, she owns a trucking company. She has several equipment types, a box truck, a cargo van, and also a tractor trailer, and she does commercial insurance. So, and then Leslie did the credit repair, helping people who have less than perfect credit scores in order to help them to get financing for starting, purchasing a truck if they wanted to go that route. So, some people came in with good credit. Some people came in with money down to put a certain percentage down in order to, and then do the rest. So, Miss Trudy.
Yes, sir.
Okay, how are you this morning?
I'm fine, thank you. And how are you?
Okay. Did you have a question?
Today, I'm just going to be listening today. I'll catch you with the questions another time.
Okay. Well, I can at least get a concept of where you are at this point. Are you still learning the intricacies of the platform, navigating the website, trying to understand how that works?
Remember, I got frustrated with everything, so I'm just starting all over, reading through all the things that were sent to me and getting myself familiarized with them.
Okay. And what I can do is, because I remember, it comes back to me now. I remember saying that I'm going to do some one-on-one training with you. I remember that, and I need to find some time to do a one-on-one with you.
Okay.
Well,
I have to getting back to it because at first when I got in it, I was, running in and doing, but it was hard for me to find the carriers. So that was what kind of get me where I am now. I'm a little bit frustrated, so that was my problem.
Okay, yeah, and I mentioned earlier when I was speaking with Allie B Trucking too, that I am probably going to re-implement the sub-dispatching portion for those of you who are having trouble getting carriers. I can probably try to get carriers under Exodus, and then we can kind of like sub-dispatch. You guys find the loads, and then I'll get the carriers with the agreements and stuff, and then we either split the commission or you get a larger percentage of that as long as you keep them running for consistently. So yeah, Robert, I need to find her a carrier. Now, does it matter what type of carrier you have, Ms. Trudy, a dry-van, flatbed, or reefer? Is there a particular preference, or does it matter?
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I just want to get my feet wet, so it doesn't matter which one.
Okay, so what I would do offline, I'm going to reach out to some of the carriers that I already have under a dispatcher agreement, see where they currently are, and if they have a need to find loads, and then I will let them know that I will be sending a dispatcher their way to work with them under the Exodus umbrella. So did you go online on the website and fill out an Exodus, the sub-dispatching form online?
No, I did not.
Okay. Are you on the computer or are you on the phone?
I'm on the phone at the moment, but my computer is open.
Okay, so if you're at the Exodus Dispatching and Training website, under ELLC services next to home.
Yes.
If you see that the second link from the bottom, it says sub dispatcher form.
Yes.
If you click that, there's an online form that you can fill out if you want to participate being a sub dispatcher or I should say an associate under Exodus dispatching. So you can fill that out, submit it. It'll send an email alert to the Exodus email. I'm in the process of rechanging the legal structure because it's overlapping with the Exodus Logistics Learning Center. So while I'm getting that corrected, I can also be at the same time getting carriers lined up for dispatching services. So if you fill that form out online, at least I'll have that in an email form that you wanted to be dispatching under Exodus until you get to a point where you're comfortable doing it on your own.
Okay. That's a good time for me.
Yeah, so doing it under Exodus, you can. So the thing with doing it under Exodus is I already provide the carriers. All you have to do now is just navigate the load boards, find the loads, and then book the loads. And then even if you have difficulty doing that, just reach out to us and we can assist in that.
Okay. Let's see, Mr. Charles.
Robert, I never did. You ever get back in touch with carrier from 2 weeks ago? Which carrier was that? The rock paper scissors dude. I called a few times, but no response. Mr. Green, did you have a question?
Yeah. I recently just booked my first load about 4 days ago, and I sent out my my invoice and everything. So it's due by tomorrow, and I'm just waiting on that. My whole issue is that I'm having a bit of trouble finding carriers.
Okay, but that one carrier that you booked a load for, how did you find that carrier?
Well, I actually I don't know how I got in touch with the guy, but I actually networked with a freight factoring company, and they shot me a couple of carriers. The only problem is that those are hot shots, and I actually went out on a whim and dealt with the hot shot just to get some experience, and I actually closed on the deal. But I haven't got paid as of yet, so tomorrow's the last day for me to get paid, and I'm just waiting on that. But outside of that, I haven't had really good luck closing any carriers so far. I've been looking on the load boards, looking for carriers, but not so much good of luck with just closing them.
Okay. So you probably are in the same situation where Miss Trudy is, where you may need to become a sub-dispatcher under Exodus until you get to a point where you can find your carriers consistently, or we just need to work on the carrier acquisition portion of the training a little bit more detailed, kind of tweak that and tighten it up a little bit as far as cold calling, as far as, now I don't know where you live and if you live near a truck stop in your area within at least 20-mile radius. So if you have an opportunity to visit a truck stop, I would recommend that. Otherwise, we can, do cold calling, obviously, to find loads. To find carriers to dispatch for.
Okay.
So, are you near like any truck stops in your area, like Flying J's, Loves, Pilots?
Well, I went to one truck stop recently. I went to a Love's that was near me. But it's really been, I actually camped out there for about around 4 hours or so, but it was particularly dry on that day. So I'm going to just have to go to another truck stop further inland. I think I have better luck with that other truck stop that I'm about to go to on Tuesday.
Okay, well, at least you're doing it, though. That's so you're getting that experience. And then what about the cold calling portion of it?
Yeah, the cold calling, I can find the carriers on the cold calling. It's just that either A, that the carriers already have dispatchers, or B, they don't answer or they don't return the calls.
Right.
Charles, can I interject something right here?
Yes.
Okay, so doing the cold calling and passing out my business card at truck stops and giving different members of my family's business card to give to people that they know. The most effective way that I've found in getting to actually speak with a carrier is when you go on Truckers Path and you put in a city and a state, and the trucks post their trucks on there, and you call them. So you generally would call, speak to them, and they would agree, and you send your dispatch agreement. So the problem is not necessarily finding the carriers. The problem is getting them to sign your dispatch agreement. So in saying all of that, at one point, someone sent back my agreement, and I was wondering if that was one of the issues, that now they don't want to do it because of the 10%. So one guy was like, oh, my wife told me it's between 2% and 5%. So in my last one that I sent to someone, I actually did take it down to 8%, but he still did not sign it. And I know you guys are saying stick to the 10%. That's the going rate. Stick to this 10%. But I even went down to 8% and am not being successful. So that's why it's hard to pinpoint what is the exact issue.
Well, I don't necessarily say stick to the 10%. I recommend 10%, but the range is between 5 and 10. Now, if you want to meet them halfway, then 7% would be a good number. So when a carrier hears 10%, they're thinking that they're losing money. So I see now where the disconnect may be. When you tell them 10%, you might want to reassure them that that 10% is coming out of the broker side. When you negotiate the rate, you want to add 10% on top of that. So, for example, let's say we get a carrier under an agreement and we charge 10%. We find a load that's paying $2,000 on the load board, so we figure, okay, we're going to charge 10% of that load. So 10% of $2,000 is $200. So when we call the broker, we're going to try to negotiate the rate up to at least cover our 10%, which is what now $2,200, because you're going to add the 10% on top of what the load is paying. So when you kind of shorten and give the carrier a shortened version of that, they're going to realize, okay, so I'm not losing money. So the 10% really doesn't matter, that number, because you're going to get that out of the broker side anyway, right? So if you're not explaining that kind of in that way to the carrier, they may perceive 10%, meaning that it's coming out of their pocket, as opposed to you trying to negotiate the numbers on the broker side to include your 10% or your 7 or 8% or whatever that number or that percentage is. So that could be where the disconnect is with the carrier. You follow?
So do you suggest, because I do not make the percentage a part of my conversation with the carrier. After speaking with them, I said that I'm going to email you my dispatch agreement and profile. I need you to fill that out and send it back as soon as possible so I can start working on finding you loads. So should that be a part of the conversation then?
Well, it should be if the carrier asks how much. Like if you're talking to me as a dispatcher and I'm a carrier, right? And I say, well, what are you charging? What's your rate for this service? Then right there, as soon as they ask that question, you cannot avoid it. Now you have to answer it. So put it in a way that convinces them that, okay, well, I'm still not losing money. And you can give an example. You say I find you a load that's you know what? I'm going to do you one better. Let's go to Truckers Path. Let's call a carrier right now, and I will do exactly what I'm saying right now. How about that?
Okay, that'll be great.
Okay, so I'm in Truckers Path, and I'm going to select the 3 equipment types starting off with dry-vans, flatbeds, and reefers, and unconditional. So, and then hit search and see what pops up. So this is for Miss Trudy, this is for Jeff Green and Allie B. Of course, everyone else who's also listening on the call. Let's call the carrier and see what experience we receive from this call. So we got a reefer, Vera, and of course, every time I do this, of course, we go through our normal vetting process, right? We want to make sure that they're not part of a brokerage and things like that. So I got the Safer website pulled up. There's some other things about Safer I need to train you guys on that I got more detailed information about from FMCSA. I had a conversation with an official at FMCSA about the Safer website, so it's some more detailed information. It's only going to add value to what you guys already know. So, so this guy has 2 trucks, 1 driver. He's in Raleigh, North Carolina, Vera Transportation and Property. He is a 1-2 man. He just got his MCS 150 January, so he's fairly new. Raleigh, North Carolina, reefer. So let's see. All right, so let me take my phone here. So for those of you, everybody can see my screen, right? So I don't have my video on because right now free conference call is acting up as far as connectivity. I'm considering Zoom very shortly. So I'm dialing the number now. So, all right, so let me, got him on speaker. And see, as you do this over and over again, the process becomes quicker. Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Oh, can I speak to Agari Florent, please?
What is this?
Yeah, this is Charles with Exodus Dispatch. I'm trying to see if you're under a load or looking for a load for your reefer truck. I'm sorry? Yeah, I'm seeing if are you under a load currently for your reefer truck, or are you looking for something within the next few days, like next week starting out, or do you got a load prepared for next week, or are you currently under one waiting to deliver? No, you don't already have a load for me. I'm trying to see if I can find some good paying loads for you. I'm trying to see, are you empty right now looking for a load, or are you currently under a load? So are you, because I dispatch and I find loads for reefer trucks, so I'm trying to see if you're currently empty and looking for a load.
Where are you calling from? Are you a dispatch or something?
Yeah, I'm a dispatching firm, and I find loads for dry vans, flatbeds, and reefers. So I'm trying to see, are you looking for a load for your truck, for your reefer trailer? Are you currently empty?
No. I just drop off right now. I just delivered another one.
You have, so you're currently under a load.
No, I just for fun.
Okay. Okay. So what do you normally get for your reefer load? $2 a mile, $3 a mile?
Right. It depends. Sometimes I get wrong, sometimes I get less. It depends.
Okay, and then also too, do you do only like 1-and-1 for your reefers, or do you like do 1 pick, 1 drop, or do you do like 2 picks, 3 drops, or what is that? How does that work for you?
Last time I had 8 picks, but that was a bullshit load.
I would never give you 10 picks. 10 pickups. That's too many pickups, and especially if it's not paying for each pickup. Each pickup should be at least an extra $150 to $200 per pickup on top of what the rate is for the load that was posted. So I usually try to keep it 1-and-1, or maybe 2 picks, 2 drops. That's about as high as I go. And and I try to average for a reefer between $2.50 and $3 a mile. Does that sound about right?
That's how you usually get them too.
Yeah. So now, what areas of the country do you normally go? Do you travel all over, or do you like to stay on the East Coast, or where do you normally go when you
No, man, I only do Florida, to New Jersey, and Mass.
Okay.
Sometimes I could get it up to. I don't go Midwest very often.
Okay.
Unless I got a good paying load, I don't go that far.
Okay, so you basically stay on the eastern seaboard there, Florida to New Jersey, back and forth. Okay.
The only place I've been that far is only New Hampshire. That's it. I don't really go that.
Okay, and you said you go to Florida. I'm assuming you're going to Florida right now because it's the season for Florida right now for the produce and things like that. Because sometimes getting out of Florida can be a challenge.
I'm in Florida now.
You're in Florida now? You got something coming out?
No. I don't really look yet. I don't nothing yet because one of my AC is not working. I have to fix the AC first before I put something.
Okay, you said your MC is not active right now?
My air conditioning is not working, so I have to fix it tomorrow before I walk in, but it's still hot, man. So.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Your AC, not MC. I get it. Yeah. And where are you looking to go out of Florida to? Where are you trying to go? North?
I don't know yet, really. So when I see that something's good, and then that's how I figured out where I'm gonna go. So.
Okay, so if I got your email here is Gardy J Florent, if I'm pronouncing the name correctly, at gmail.com. What I'll do is I'll send you a link to my website so you can actually look at our dispatcher agreement and profile, and then consider us as an option of helping you find loads. We try to send you where you want to go for how much you want to make. So we pretty much give you exactly what you're looking for. And if we don't call you unless we find something for you. So. All right.
Okay, so let me check in about this.
Okay, that'll work. Thank you.
Okay.
So what I'll do is I'm gonna send. Mike said hang up on him. Well, I wanted to keep the conversation going a little bit so the other people who are having trouble talking to carriers can actually hear the lingo. Now he was kind of hard to understand. I believe he sounded like he was Hispanic, and the reception was a little bad. But in that conversation, you notice he didn't ask how much we charge for the service or anything like that. So that scenario it can go either way. It may be a situation where the carrier asks you, well, what do you charge for your service? Otherwise, you just continue the conversation and, get that affirmative conversation going. So now I got his email. So what I'll do, I'm just going to copy the email. And this is, while it's fresh in my mind, of course, right? And this is what I think you guys can do the same thing. You'll go to your business email as dispatchers, and then send them your dispatcher agreement and profile. Now, what I do is I just send them the two links to my online dispatcher agreement and profile. I got your Miss Trudy. I got your sub dispatcher. I just opened my email and saw that, so I want to reply to that and say received. So I'll do that now since it's on my mind. Received, and then I'll file it in my sub dispatcher folder. There. So now with this person, I'm going to go ahead and compose an email with his email in it. And, of course, the heading will be dispatcher agreement and profile. And then in the please fill out the two below links in order for us to provide dispatcher services for you. Thank you. And then I will hit the dispatcher agreement link and copy that. One. And I'm going to remove this image. And two, put the profile link. Copy that and paste it there. And that's it. And then, of course, you know, if you want to follow up with the person, then you can. Who is this one? Oh, okay, that's this. No, I don't know about that. So that's it for that person. And then you just move on to the next one. And I'll refresh Trucker's Path. And since Ms. Trudy said that she has the best results calling and then talking to them, getting them to say send the agreement, it's just it appears that the disconnect is in the explanation of when they ask for how much is your services and you say 10%, that kind of scares them. So if you can reassure them or let them know that your rate is going to be on top of what the broker charges for the load, and then you give them an example according to whatever equipment type they have. You say, okay, well, if you got a flatbed or a reefer or a drive-in, and you say, okay, if I find you a $2,000 load, and then use nice whole numbers so the math will be easy for you and them to understand. So $2,000, I'm charging, let's say, 7%. So 7% of $2,000 is $140. So then I go look for a load that's paying $2,200. You know, instead of $2,140, you just do a nice, you round up to the next $100. So $2,200. And then they'll say, oh, okay, so yeah, you don't lose $2,000, and I can still get my percentage off of that as well. So it's a win-win. In our case, the broker is paying for both of us. They're paying for my service, and they're paying for you for your service as well. And if you word it in such a way that they understand it, you can increase the likelihood of getting that carrier to say, yeah, send me your dispatcher agreement and profile. That makes sense?
Yes.
How did that call go with you, Mr. Green, if you still are on here?
Yeah, that call went well. I just couldn't understand what he was saying, but I caught the gist of it. It went very well.
Yeah, he was he's trying to get a load. He's empty, trying to get a load for tomorrow. I thought he said his MC was bad, but it wasn't. He meant his AC. He's working with his AC. I heard him say AC, so he's getting that fixed. So I thought he said MC, but I was looking at him on Safer, and his MC was fine. He's authorized. So it's under operating status. It says not authorized, and it's in bold red letters. Then, of course, but this is an FMCSA website. So this is safer.fmcsa.dot.gov. So this is a snapshot of that company that I just called, and his authority is fine. You know, this is what he hauls: general freight, produce. He has a reefer, so he has inspections and stuff like that. So one driver, one vehicle. His inspections are 100%. So.
Yeah, with that Safer, it really goes into detail what I found out, because I actually did call a carrier, and it might have been more on me that I decided not to go for it because of the risk. They had a fatality under their profile.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I would. And it depends on how recent. Well, actually, it don't depend on how recent, because a fatality is a fatality. So when a broker sees that, they're probably going to be like, nah, I don't think we're going to, because that's a red flag and high risk from a broker's perspective, because you can't have a carrier under your brokerage and you're running low and you got a fatality on your FMCSA company snapshot. That's just not good. I don't know how long ago the fatality was. Most brokers will look at that and they'll be like, irregardless of how long, you have one on here. So, but then they'll say, other brokers will say, well, what was the circumstances of it? Did you cause it, or was it the cause of the other person? Was it an accident, like a car pile up, and you just happen to be involved in it, and someone just happened to get killed behind it? So there's other circumstances to consider, But when a person first sees fatality on the Safer website, it just all logic goes out the door until someone comes back around and say, okay, well, let's look at the circumstances involved in what caused the fatality before we just rush to judgment of the person, because it may not have been their fault, So, and you got carriers out there who got things on their driving record on the Safer that may not be their fault. So it's good to look at all the circumstances behind why they got that particular classification on their Safer company snapshot. So.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah. I mean, it's like with us, every person who has black skin is not bad, or every person who has white skin is not bad. You can't judge a person based off of the color of their skin. So if you see something on a person's record and it says fatality, we'll say, oh my God, we can't mess with them. But we have to dig a little deeper and see the circumstances behind the fatality. What caused it? Was it the carrier at fault? Was it something that was out of their control? Maybe it was raining that day and a person slid on a slippery road, hydroplaned, and was under the truck and just died from that accident. So we don't really know the circumstance, right? So, and if you were willing to work with that carrier, then you, of course, if it were me, I would say, well, I noticed there's a fatality on your Safer. Can you explain what that was? Was it an accident? Were you the cause, or what was going on? And then give them an opportunity, if they're willing to do that, go that far, Otherwise, if you're a mindset, if you just see a fatality, you just move on, then, I mean, that's completely also your option too. If you don't want to, go into grave detail about the specifics of that, assuming, you want to work with that carrier or not. So it's all up to you as the dispatcher. It's all up to the carrier to explain their situation if they're willing to have you work as their dispatcher. So back to the cold calling part is you guys seem to be comfortable with calling. It's just got to tweak the process and the explanation. If you get a scenario where the carrier asks you, what's your take, what's your percentage, or what's your flat rate for dispatching, now it's the opportunity to kind of reel them in, to kind of close the deal with your presentation in such a way that will convince them that they're not going to lose any money by having your service done for them. It's kind of almost like you're doing it for free for them, but you're getting paid by the broker, which is pretty much what it is if you think about it. If you're gonna negotiate a higher rate in order to cover your percentage, then of course you're getting money from the broker and not the carrier. You're just there as an administrative person for the carrier, booking the loads for them and doing all the work, and that's where the percentage come in at. So yeah, just keep plugging away at it. Believe me, it's gonna come. And I think the rates are moving in a little bit more of a positive direction. I think Robert may have a more an insight to that because he's out there more so than I am on the roads. What are they looking like out there, Robert? Well, even Mike, I think Mike has carriers out there too. So
yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
About my understanding, they're going from like $2.50 up. There's some $3. There's some $3.25. The rates are climbing pretty good right now. So the demand is there.
Yeah, so that's what I'm glad you had some mics said they came up again. So yeah, so irregardless of the equipment type, right? Dry van, flatbed, reefer, irregardless of the rates across the board are going up. So let's do this. Let's open up.
Check it out. Open it up
Yeah.
and check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna check trend lines and see what they are as well too, as a comparison. So dry vans, flatbeds, reefer. So the rates, national rates for a dry van.
You ever deal with Lane Honey? Just look at the rates on Lane Honey.
Yeah, I haven't. I don't have a login for it, but I've dealt with it before. Now Lane Honey, I believe Lane Honey are they direct shipper rates, and then you have to get those rates like negotiated down, or? So right now the van rates are this, the flatbed rates, national flatbed rates, and this is different color coded. So over $2 for the flatbeds, and I would assume the reefers will be over $2 as well. Okay, so there we go. So they're moving up, and this is a dynamic website, meaning that it changes all the time. It's not static. It's not staying the same. So, but I don't have a login for Lane Honey, but I've seen real-time spot market data for freight. So, like right here, shipper rate per mile. So the shipper rate per mile is, these are examples. Shipper rate per mile is 377. The carrier rate per mile is like, so look at the difference in the rate. So that tells me there that difference is the broker's taking out their cut, right? Shipper rate is $4.44, carrier rate is $1.33. That means the broker is taking that much out. So if you go in and let's do a lane for a reefer, let's say Norfolk, Virginia to anywhere, and let's see for a reefer. And then we'll look at lows in here. So offer rate is $3.94. Now this is shipper rates. Now what you see in these numbers are shipper rates. They're not carrier rates. So that means that the broker is probably going to get the lows from the shipper and then mark their prices off, and then it'll be a lower number. That's how Lane Honey works. So so if you see those outrageous prices, $4.44, do not assume that it is broker rates going to the carrier. That is not the case. So okay, any other questions? National rates, safer. Everybody's good? Sherry, you're good? Allie?
Yep.
So Sherry's good, Allie's good. Miss Trudy. Let's see, someone had a comment here. Let's see. So you guys have the foundation. Everything is in place. It's just getting the carriers in place in order to start finding good paying freight. So let me go to Internet Truck Stop and look at a load, and just somebody give me a lane to look out so we can actually see it in real time what some of these loads are paying for a specific equipment type. So does anyone have an equipment type that they want to see what that equipment type is being paid for on the load board right now?
Hey, Charles.
Yes.
Burlington, Kansas, going towards, Midwest, Ohio, Illinois, anywhere that way. Van.
Okay, I see one in here now. What equipment? Van, reefer, flatbed? Mike, dry van, flatbed, or reefer?
A van, Charles.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because I see one in here now that has a Burlington in here. So here's some loads for Burlington, and it's 487 loads. I'm going to put them in order, highest rate. But you want to go towards, okay, what's your deadhead out of Kansas? Within 100 miles?
Yeah.
Okay. And what states do you want to go toward? I'm going to do it specifically for the states. What states do you want to go towards? Like the Midwest, like Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan?
Yeah, all of that.
Okay, so that's area 4. Any other states? So basically, you're heading east and not west. You're heading east. So I'm going to put these. Nothing west, more east. And then we're going to go there.
Just stay where the states are that got the higher rates.
Right. There you go. So now I got 336. And so the states that have the higher rates of the ones that I selected in the here in the multi-states. So the states with the higher rates, of course, are the Midwest states, Southeast states. I got different areas and zones here. I'm going to see what pops up just out of curiosity. 336. I'm going to we put it in order of 200s. And then I'm going to put that in order of highest to lowest. So I got one today, which is the 28th, correct? Going to picking up in Pittsburgh, Kansas, and going to Fort Myers, Florida, at 4,500. Now, what are you looking for as a rate per mile, Mike, for the van? Anything over 2 or?
Yeah, $2 is better.
2 miles or better. So this first one, 45 at 13, 77. I'm gonna add the 77 deadhead into the miles because you got to drive there to pick it up, right? So 77 plus the 1345. Was it 1345 or 13? Yeah, 1345. 1422. So 4,500. The rate 1422. So that's $3.16 a mile. Now, mind you, it's picking up today. It's at 38,000 pounds, and it's going to an area that may be difficult getting out of Florida, down to Fort Myers. So Fort Myers, if we look at the map, as far as how far into Florida is, to kind of gauge if we can get something coming out, if you decide for your guy to go down there, it's way down there, so like almost by Miami. So Fort Myers is down, so it's like a little over 2/3 in the way down there, Fort Myers. So that load is a consideration. And then there's another one here that's going from Pittsburgh, Kansas. Pittsburgh, Kansas. There's a lot of loads picking up in Pittsburgh, Kansas, or Emporia. Emporia, Kansas is 28-mile deadhead from Burlington, Kansas. So that's a shorter deadhead distance, and going more north towards Pennsylvania. So here's one going from Pittsburgh, Kansas to Tioga, Kansas. So yeah, and then check the backhaul. Let's say you know I'm not sending no carriers. Yeah, he's not sending no carriers to Florida. So let's look at the other one. Let's open up the one that's going to Pennsylvania, because you can get a load out of Pennsylvania with a dry van. So now your carrier is not hazmat. So I don't know. Is your carrier hazmat? Because this is a hazmat 1.4G. So if he's not hazmat, there's no point even looking at this load. Okay, so no non-hazmat. So let's go away from this one, and then one going to New York, $3,000. It's only 17,000 pounds, so you could, but it's a truckload, so it's probably a large enough pallet to make up, but it's only weighs 17,000, so you can't put anything on there because it's a truckload. Now, if it was a less than truckload or a partial, then you could add something to it. But this one here is going to Melville, New York, which is probably upstate. 17,000, and it has 2 drops, so Farmingdale and then Melville, which is 5 miles apart. So really not, I mean, that's not bad. Two drops that are 5 miles apart, if the broker is telling the truth. So we can map that. So that's Long Island, Farmingdale. So that's way in there. Jesus Christ, you got to go all the way down. But $3,000, and it's $14.39. So that's $208. So that's still over the $2 or better. But now you're sending them to the tolls and all this other stuff, Melville. So if that's on Long Island, Farmdale and Melville. So let's look at real quick. You said Burlington, Kansas to Melville, New York, Farmdale, New York. It's a straight shot across I-70 and I-80 East. So I-70 to I-80 East. Yeah, you take I-70, go through Indianapolis and everything, and then go to I-80 East. So wait a minute. Let's open that up a little bit. Yeah. Yep. You're gonna hit the bridge, and then yep, hit the Bronx, hit the bridge. Yep. Long Island. And then Farmville is like 5 minutes away or 5 miles away. So it's on the island or near it. And Farmdale is right here, so 5 miles away. So it's a consideration, but assume that if your guy wants to go that area that way. What's backhaul back to Kansas? My carriers want to do New York. Okay, so New York is out. Okay, so you know your profile then. So Pennsylvania, Wichita to Pennsylvania is paying 27. It's going 12. So that one, that seemed like a good one. Wichita, Kansas, which is not far. So here's all these specific days. So it's picking up tomorrow at 10 a.m. early, 10 a.m. late. So basically 10 a.m. sharp. When they say 10 a.m. early and late, that means 10 a.m. sharp. And it's delivering on the 1st of July, which is a few days, 4 days, 3 days out to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Now, I had 27 as a rate. Why is it? I had 27 right there, 2710. So it doesn't have a rate here for some reason, but we got 2710. So 2710 and the loaded miles, the practical miles are 1224. So $2.21 for that one tentatively is 16,000 pounds. So it's not a lot of weight. Yeah, so you can do 1,200 miles in 2 days. Yeah, 600 miles an hour, 600 miles a day, which is about 60 to 65 miles an hour, 70 tops. So yeah, you can make it in 2 days. So the 29th, the 30th, 31st. So they're giving them. Let's see, the 29th. What's June has 30 days, not 31. So the 29th, the 30th, so they give him 3 days. So he has more than enough time to make that that load, right? So the 29th to the 1st is 3 days because I forgot there's only 30 days in June. So that's a consideration there, Mike. And you got late to get it there by 3 p.m. So you pick up at 10 a.m. You're driving all day. It's going to take you about a couple of loads. I mean, an hour. It'll probably take you an hour. Take them an hour to load 16,000 pounds, right? That's not a lot of weight. So 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Let's say 12. You leave 12 at the latest. You might go to a truck stop, get some fuel, get something to eat, and then head out at 12. So from 12 on the 29th to 12 on the 30th, that's 1 day, and then from 12 on the 30th to the 12 on the 1st, that's 2 days. You got another 3 hours to get to that location. So you got plenty of time to factor in with the resets and everything to do that load. So that's a consideration right there for your guy. It's picking up in Wichita, which is 94 miles deadhead too. Now, my other question would be, is it going away from because my definition of deadhead, if it's going in the direction that you're delivering to, that's a good deadhead. If it's going away from the direction you're ultimately going to deliver to, then that's a bad deadhead in my opinion because it's going away. It's not going toward. So, Burlington to Wichita, let's look that up to see if it's going in the same direction that it ultimately. And Burlington to Wichita, Kansas. Yeah, catch that broker in the morning. So yeah, it's going west of Burlington to pick up, and then and it's actually 117 miles. It's not 94, so that's a lie on the load board. Unless it's within, if it's city limits within the city. So. Yeah, I would add some extra. I would add to the rate too, since it's going away from the pickup is going away from where you need to go. Add an extra, so instead of 2710, let's say 2800 or 2850, and then call that broker Load Smart. Jordan Abrams, call that person, because sometimes in the special instructions they will put an email and or a cell number. Oh yeah, so he has to get. So your driver is loaded. So when is he going to be empty in Burlington? Today or tomorrow?
He'll be empty when he gets that load off his back in the morning.
In the morning. So that means he got to drive
exactly
100 miles to pick up This load at 10 a.m. So is it an early delivery for him?
Nah, it's not early. I think it's like from 8 to 1. But, you know, you got to give them time to get unloaded. Then I got to give them time to get down to Wichita. So, you know, he probably couldn't make that 10 o'clock. That's what I was saying. I'll call see if I can get that time pushed back for the pickup.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, like, maybe what? Like noon? Yeah. And then 917 area code is New York, Robert. You had asked that question. So okay, so that's one option there, Mike. I mean, there may be some other ones here. You're not sitting on the Florida, not sitting on the New York. What about Indiana? King of Freight got one right here. Pittsburgh, Kansas, 77 miles going to Elkin, Indiana, 38,000 pounds. That's only 700. That's a good one. Let's look at that one real quick. King of Freight.
Yeah, that rate came up because it wasn't like that on Friday.
Okay. But it's hazmat. That's why. Look at that. So that tells me, so if a driver is hazmat endorsed, they can get more money, obviously, because there's more risk with hazmat loads. Flow Trans, FLS Trans is there's Wichita going to Detroit. That's Chop Tank. They pay pretty well. I don't know if this is a hazmat load or not. More than likely it is if it's picking up in Wichita. Okay, so 964 miles. Here's a number here. The 700-mile one Robert just referred to that's a hazmat load, Robert. The 704. I just got another one that's 956 picking up in Wichita, which is west of Burlington, 100-something miles, but it's going to Detroit. And it's paying $2,100 at 964 miles. So what is that? It's going north to Detroit, $2,100 at 964.
That's good money.
That's $218, but you got to factor in that driving from Burlington west 100 miles. So you might want to add that. So you might want to go from 21 to like 23 or 24 or 25 maybe, because you got to add that. Yeah, so you got to add that 117 miles to the 964 that he's got to do the loaded miles. You got to add the deadhead. Let's say 120. Let's round up. So 1084. So now if you do, so let's say 1100. Let's round up. Always round up. Keep it higher. Give yourself some wiggle room. So 2100 and 1100. That's $1.90. So if you negotiate 2300 at 1100, you're still rounding up and giving yourself wiggle room. That'll be over $2 a mile, 209. So, and you're factoring in your deadhead miles to drive west to pick the load up in Wichita to go to Michigan, and you should be able to find something coming out of Michigan. So if we open that up. And you got an email right here, right now, team7d@shoptanktransport.com. If you email that, I'm sure they check their emails over the weekend to prepare their routes for the following week from a broker side. So the broker might respond to the email. Or there's an extension 848, so if you call them, which let's do that now. And see if they'll pick up, even if it's the weekend. 848.
Thank you for calling Chop Tank Transport. Your call may be recorded or monitored for quality assurance. If you're a customer or a carrier calling regarding a current shipment status update, please press 1 to speak to our night operations team. If you know your party's extension, please press 5 and the 3-digit extension. the operators are busy at the moment, but please hold, and you will be transferred when somebody becomes available. Rail. Discover the cost savings.
So once they transfer me,
Intermodal to your supply chain next.
it picks up tomorrow.
It's going.
If it's a first come, first serve, no time limit, I'm trying to find out. So, because your guy's going to be empty in the morning.
I'm afraid all of the operators are busy at the moment, but please hold, and you will be transferred when somebody becomes available. Says in cities across the
So we're looking at this. It picks up tomorrow, but there's no time. So you're factoring in your guy's going to be empty in the morning between 8 and 12 or whatever you said it was. So we add an extra 2 hours for that 117-mile drive to pick up. So if he can pick up tomorrow late,
I'm afraid all
that'd be good.
operators are busy at the moment. But please hold, and you will be transferred when somebody becomes available.
Because you don't want to have overlap in picking up, delivering and picking up, having to pick up. So you won't make that pickup. So.
Thank you for calling Chop Tank Transport. Your call and your time are very important to us. So we'd like to take this brief.
And these would be some of the questions that will be asked too, you know, because there's a lot of unanswered questions here as far as pickup time, delivery time. Yeah.
So we don't feel the problem because if somebody else, you only going to talk to a dispatcher. You most likely going to talk to the broker that's low.
Enabling us to find the equipment you need.
Yeah. So
you can't negotiate. They only tell you a price that they got set in front of them.
Yeah. So I'll probably let you call that one.
Oh, I'm
if you're interested.
In the morning, definitely.
Yeah, and it's 9 hours old, so you should be good with 200. So Robert, so the age of the load, that's a good point too. It's been up there for 9 hours. So yeah. So let's put it in order based off of how long it's been posted. So the age. So let's click that, and the most recent one. So 4 minutes ago. So here's one that got posted 4 minutes ago. So somebody may be online trying to get a load moved because they put it up there 4 minutes ago. There's no rate on it, but it got posted 4 minutes ago. So we may be able to get a hold of that person. It's picking up in Kansas City, Missouri, which is 89 miles, and it's going to Illinois. That's too heavy?
Yeah, he ain't doing that.
So what's your guy's weight limit?
Well, this one here is picky. He ain't going nothing over 40, and that's pushing it to the.
Okay.
Hey, Charles, can you put the rate back how it used to be instead of on this corner all the way across the board?
I gotta call them and see because one of my people's moved it. I gotta either go into the settings or something, user profile, and see if I can move it because it used to be over here at the end. I don't know.
But wouldn't you be the only one that can go in there and change the settings?
That's yes. That would be yes. So I don't know how that happened, but I gotta call truck stop and somebody because I did not authorize the changing of the settings to go that way. So why did it end up like that? Preferences, company profile, user profile, lists, load profile. So I'll play with that and get it. Robert said check Coffeyville. Which one were you looking at, Robert? Coffeyville. Oh, you want me to do it on the list?
No, there was a load from Coffeyville. I think it was Coffeyville, Kansas, to somewhere in Georgia. When you had that other screen up, the time.
I see right here, Coffeyville, Kansas. I see one Coffeyville, Kansas to Rockford, Illinois. Oh, but when I had it up on the age, okay, I see what you're saying. Right there, Coffeyville to Evans, Georgia.
Right.
XPO. Okay. So, and Coffeyville is 83 mile deadhead, 39,000 pounds, 994. There is no rate, but even though there's no rate, your carrier wants at least $2 a mile. So what we do is, of course, we add the deadhead into the total loaded miles, which is 994 plus the 83 mile deadhead, right? So we can figure out what we're going to ask for when the broker asks us plus 83. So we got 1,000. So we want $2 a mile. So we're going to multiply that total miles, which includes deadhead, times $2 a mile. Let's say 210. Let's get greedy. 210. So we want 23. Let's round up. We always want to round up. So 23. So that'll be our starting rate. So 994, 23, 39,000 pounds, 53. So what'll give us leverage in negotiating that too is once the broker gives us details about the load, like if it's just 1-in-1, what's some special requirements for load and things like that, then we'll be able to, plus it's XPO, which is the largest logistics, one of the largest out here. So they definitely got wiggle room. Quantity. So they have 16 of these loads. So if there was a trucking company with 16 trucks, they can take all 16 loads. That's what that means. They got 16 of those loads going from Coffeyville, Kansas to Evans, Georgia. So it must be some kind of distribution center to distribution center. So we got to figure out, well, what's the commodity? You got 16 of this. I can put 16 trucks over here and take all of them. So if you know, a trucking company with 20 trucks, 20 vans, I got 16 of them. I can send them all over there and go ahead and meet your capacity. So, and then getting out of Georgia is not a problem because Evans, Georgia, should be close to a major hub down there, like Tifton, and even Atlanta. So let's look at, is it Tifton, Georgia? I know a distribution center down in Tifton. So Evans is closer. Evans is closer to Atlanta than it is to Tifton. You got to go further south to get to Tifton from Evans. So you can come over to Atlanta and grab something and then go back up or go wherever. So, right. So if you look at the map here, and Augusta, right there. Augusta's literally right there. And then you can go into South Carolina, grab something for Columbia, Sumter. There's some distribution centers in Sumter, Florence, Charleston, Myrtle Beach, and Rock Hill. Even go up to Charlotte. So this area is a major hub for freight. It's freight heavy. Georgia is a freight heavy state, irregardless of the equipment type. And
switch over to 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, switch over to 1, 2, 3, and then check back off from what, Evans, Georgia, back to Kansas. Or we can switch over to 1, 2, 3, and let's log out of this. And I hope I'm not moving too fast for those who are at the phase of still looking for carriers and things like that. But this is low board, like 101, right? Navigating. So we initially started off with a van for Mike, Burlington, Kansas, right? And for a van, and we'll leave that any. His weight, we'll put weight is 40,000, no less. So we'll put that in there. So we'll have it 53 feet. So we kind of get specific, and we'll take out Canada, and we want to do specific states. So Burlington, and let's just choose some states. He don't want to go to New York, Pennsylvania. We can go down to Georgia, Alabama. But if we do anywhere, it's gonna give us a larger number. It's gonna hit us out west. But if we keep it on the because he's here in Kansas, and we want to keep it east of that and put it in states that you can get out of, South Carolina, North Carolina. We'll leave it like that for now, so we can check backhaul options. 33, put it in order, some rates. So right here, Wichita to Detroit, that was the one that we saw, 40,000 pounds, chop tank, $2.18. This one we already saw. And then we look at backhauls. Let's say you take that one. Let's say you negotiate the rate up to 2,300 and you take that one. Let's look at backhauls tab coming out of Detroit. Now, Robert, you want to come out of, or even Mike, because this is his guy, coming out of Detroit going anywhere or going back to Kansas to grab one of those good paying loads, because you're already going to be set up with that chop tank broker. If you get a load out of Detroit back to Kansas, now you got like a little back and forth dedicated kind of thing going on there, right? A little dedicated lane, and you can take your eye off of that carrier because now you know where he's going back and forth, right? And you ain't got to worry about that one. You can shoot towards your next project, your next carrier.
Oh yeah, I'll try to give him a triangle. I mean,
okay.
That's what I would do. I mean, I try to run them in a triangle, keep them running, instead of going back. I mean, if there's another good load coming out of Kansas or whatever, back to Kansas, but run them in a triangle.
Okay, well let's say he go to Kansas to Detroit, and let's say Detroit going anywhere. Let's look at the Detroit going anywhere. So we can go down south to like Georgia, and then Georgia back over to Kansas. So there's your triangle right there, right?
Yep.
So let's say Detroit going anywhere. That way we'll see.
Hey, what's the triangle you just said? What state you said?
Well, right now we got Wichita going to Detroit, Michigan.
And what's that one?
And then we're looking at the backhauls tab. We're going to say, Georgia. Let's go down to Georgia. The reason why I say Georgia because that's a freight heavy state.
Right.
So the likelihood, so we can say Georgia going back over to your Wichita pickup because you got chop tank already under your set up for your carriers. You can pick up another load, in Wichita going back over to Detroit, and then from Detroit another load going back down to Georgia somewhere, and then from that Georgia broker going back over to Kansas. So now you got a triangular thing going on with that carrier.
Now with this carrier here, I usually run them on a triangle from Missouri to Cali, back down to Texas, back up towards Missouri. But right now, Texas and Cali, they spiking right now, so I got to send them east now.
Okay, I see. So Cali's not acting right now, so you got to send him east.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got.
I think, Charles, to be honest with you, if you dispatching, I think you got to try to get much money as you can right now because I think they're going to shut the country back down. They're probably going to have to.
Yeah. But they're going to shut the country down, but freight is still going to move, but it's just going to move cheaper.
No, think about this. 2 of my carriers just coming back like the last 2 weeks. All my carriers shut down. They basically wasn't running that cheap freight like that. A lot of owner operators not doing it. So basically, like right now, I'm booking crazy loads because that's their mindset. They trying to get much money as possible right now because they feel it's going to shut down again too. And that shutdown was hard on a lot of them.
Right. Okay, so we need to focus on getting the highest paying loads in the freight heavy locations. So right now we're on Kansas City to Detroit on the chop tank, and then we're looking at backhauls going from Detroit to anywhere. Let's focus on like a southern state. So right here we're on the Detroit to anywhere. So if we put this in order of pay, 38. So now Detroit or Ohio to Washington State. That's not good. Let's see one going south or over to Texas. Ohio over to Texas. That's not paying well. So coming out of the Midwest going south, we can go Detroit to Pennsylvania.
Check this out. Dealing with chop tank. Any way to pull up all of chop tank's loads? That way there you're kind of dealing with that one broker or whatever. You know, you friends with them. You know, hey, you know, take care of me. I take care of you. We don't have to go to another broker or whatever. You know, we just stick with Chop Tank.
Right. So let's edit this one, and let's put the company as Chop Tank. And see what all Chop Tank has. Did I spell that correctly? Chop Tank Transportation. I'm supposed to capitalize it or something?
To be honest with you, it'd be better just signing in the Chop Tank's, you know, low ball, but they carry a list. Yeah.
Yeah, once you put that up. Yeah. So with this one here, you got Ohio from Detroit. When you got Ohio going over to Illinois with Chop Tank. So the backhaul coming out of that area. Right there.
Charles, I think the transportation industry knows something. Because when the rates start coming back up, right? I'm starting to find out a lot of the rates is better than it was before the pandemic.
Yeah. What was that? I had saw something with brokers in the transportation industry, and it was some kind of secret society kind of stuff that was going on, but I'm not gonna go. Like Walmart and the transportation industry and another company had something going on. Dang, what was that called? I can't remember. It was crazy, but they had an inside track on it. So,
yo, this load I just booked on Friday, right? He going from Poplar Bluff, Missouri, to Burlington, Kansas. Y'all got him $1,200 for that load, Charles. It's not even 400 miles.
Yeah, that's a 300. Yeah, that's a over $3 mile, and that's a dry van.
Dry van. I booked a reefer load the other day like that. It was only going 700 miles. That shit was getting there $4 a mile. That's what I'm saying. I think they know something. That's why I'm trying to get all the money I can right now with these carriers.
How many loads do they have? How many loads do they have coming back out of there?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, out of Poplar Bluff and everything else. I mean, you know, get that load, go, come back down and get another one. You know, keep running them.
That's why I'm trying to send this carrier back east, because it seems like in the Midwest right now, that's where the good rates are, like you said, Atlanta. So, yeah, I'm sending them down. I sent them over there, and I'm going to send them back east. And basically, like I said, I usually run him to the West Coast. But it's spiking over there, so the lanes ain't looking too good over there. He trying not to catch the virus. So basically, I got to run him back and forth from the Midwest.
Right. And sometimes, now you got contact information here too. Like here's an email, Courtney.Whitley@choptanktransport.com. So if you contact them via email, let them know you got a dry van that's going to be empty in Burlington, Kansas, tomorrow morning. I'm looking for something. I'm looking to work with you guys exclusively, and I'm looking for a load coming out of Kansas or within a reasonable deadhead going east. What do you got? And then this broker or broker agent or whatever she is or he is, because Courtney could be a male or female name, and they'll start to want to work with you exclusively so they can make their commission. And then, you work it like that, work the angle like that. But there's an email right there, Courtney.Wheatley@ChopTankTransport. They left the @ sign out, but that's the email, Courtney.Wheatley@ChopTankTransport.com, and their extension as well at that number. That's their extension and the reference number on that specific load. But you don't want that specific load. You just want to make the connection with a broker at a good paying brokerage. Because Chop Tank they're known to be decent. They'll pay decent. They're willing to work with the numbers with you a little bit, wiggle room. So they're not one of the ones that are trying to take advantage of people. So Now these other ones I can't really speak for. So, all right, guys, we got about 10 minutes. Any other? I know it was like a quick load board navigational lesson, which the others who are looking at it, I mean, you guys are picking up on stuff too, Miss Trudy, Sherry, and Alley B Trucking.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's just navigating the load board. So this is what we were doing. Myself, Mike, and Robert. We're doing what we call we're load planning, where you not only find you a direct line load, but you're looking for backhauls and you're keeping your carriers running, and you're planning out where you're not putting them in areas where the freight is not heavy. You want to put them in areas where you know you increase your chances of getting a load coming out of there. So we know for specific equipment types that loads are heavy in certain states. So if where your carrier is at, you can get them a load going to those areas, then the likelihood of coming out of there, it increases. You don't want to send them to a dead zone where they'll be sitting there for days. You want to send them to an area, and you still get the rate that they want. So that's the art of dispatching. You gotta understand how that works, and you got to be mindful too that philosophy, that concept, it shifts with the seasons and stuff like that. The load, sometimes it shifts. Certain states may shift in being freight heavy to being freight light. One reason could be because it could be that particular season for that state. Like, for example, California or Florida, produce season and fruit season and oranges and whatever. You got states that have like apples, like Washington, onions, Idaho potatoes, things like that. So you got to be mindful of certain states and the commodities that's coming out of those states. So sometimes that stuff, it shifts. But as a dispatcher, once you pick up on if you've been dispatching for 1 year, you understand the months and the range of months when the freight shifts for specific states, and you will start to pick up and know when that happens and to put your carriers in those states accordingly. You'll understand that concept. So every year it's going to be the same thing. It changes at the same time. The shifts happen. The seasons happen at the same time, and it shifts. So you, as a dispatcher, you say, okay, well, I know it's coming up on this season, and my carrier's a reefer. I know its load's going to be over here. I need to send my carrier in that state, keep them running, send them out over here to this state, get them back to my state that the freight is heavy in for that particular equipment type. And then, rinse and repeat, and that's pretty much dispatching. Now, establish the foundation first, understanding equipment types, understanding how to navigate the load boards, understanding how to talk to brokers and negotiate rates and things like that. And then all the other stuff will come through trial and error. But you will learn from those experiences. And that's what Mike is doing. That's what Robert is doing. Robert is driving, but Mike is, Mike got it down to a science. So, and that's how it is. And of course, these guys are available on the Dispatcher 101, the private Facebook chat too, for the questions too. Just chime in and pose the questions to them, and they'll be more than happy to provide input and assist you guys who are at the point of needing assistance. So, any other questions? I need to answer these names here, by the way. Someone commented here in the chat. Sherry asked Robert is driving. Robert, you need a dispatcher? Robert, you need a dispatcher? You're driving. Introducing list view for carriers. So let's do a list view for carriers. Okay, it's just showing a new feature of 123 load board. That's fine. COVID-19.
Their contract.
Oh, Robert, yeah, you're contracted, yeah. Jerry wanted to know if you needed a driver, if you needed a dispatcher.
Need an employee. I need some dispatchers myself.
Yeah. All right, we'll see what else. I'm here. She says she's here for you, Robert. I look for the best paying loads for you. She's promoting herself right now.
Damn right. Get over on my side, man.
Yeah, Mike made a good point. Once you start booking loads, the brokers will start calling you. That is exactly right, because they see you book loads. That means that you have carriers who are doing it the right way, delivering on time and things like that. So brokers want to work with dispatchers whose carriers are delivering loads on time and no claims and stuff like that is filed against them and all that stuff. You have good carriers. The reason being is your carriers are good because you are properly vetting them out. You are, you're going through the safer, you're going through your criteria to make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So, that's how that works.
Tell Sherry to recruit a Spanish-speaking dispatcher.
I caught up to Dee, she's employed at Planet Fitness right now. I told her, I said, look, Robert was gonna, help with the your training. Are you still? She wants to think about it again because she's tired of what she's doing over there. So, because I know why you're asking that, because there is a real niche for the Latina community of carriers. So if we can find a dispatcher that will understand how we train and dispatch and then get that message across to the carriers over there, then that could open up a whole new area in dispatching, especially for the Latino community. Because I don't see anyone else doing it, to be honest with you. I don't see anyone else doing it. So, all right, guys. Let's see the map here. There's so much I got to do. Let's see, today's Sunday. Wednesday evening, we will pick up on some more training, live training. Any questions up prior to then, of course, call, add it to the chat group, and then have them ready for Wednesday's training as well. We're just pretty much tightening up what we already know and getting more acclimated to the process of dispatching. So, until then, I want to thank you guys, those who attended, and I will see you on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Enjoy your weekend.